Say
Anyway,
something nice. And I'm sure we will be saying something nice about our next
Yeah.
review target, The Orville, Season 2,
nice
Episode
transition.
3, Home.
I did a
Nice
nice
transition.
earlier. I did a nice segue earlier, but we weren't ready for it.
Yes.
Talking about the strategy.
Yeah.
But yes, so now don't we only not only have the EMH from Voyager, we now have Phlox from Enterprise.
He's dead though.
What?
He died.
Oh yeah. Well, we've had them on the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, the guy that played Phlox died?
No,
The-
not the guy who played him, but the character of the guy who played Phlox in this episode dies at the end.
Yeah.
Well, that's spoiler. God,
We're doing a
should-
review of the episode. Come on.
I haven't seen it.
Dude, I told you to watch it like last week.
I know, and for some reason I didn't.
Shame. Shame. This is a criminally underwatched show.
I know.
Is. And this episode was just freaking amazing.
Yeah,
I heard something about Scootaloo feels, and that immediately piqued my interest. And then I buried the link in conversation because I do that, because I ramble.
Well, if you don't want to be spoiled, then that's one thing. But if you don't
Nah,
mind,
it's fine. It's fine. I was just
what
Being
I
too sick around.
what I loved about this episode, one of the things that kind of gave me a little bit of a chill was that at the end of the episode with the jar of pickles and Mercer looking down at it, that had freaking shades of Picard in it. That's sort of the way he was looking at that jar of pickles. I know it's stupid and it's only a moment.
I mean, if you're going to imitate a Starfleet captain, he picked the right one.
But no, he's talking about just the feeling of the moment and everything.
Yeah.
And
It felt like the end of one of those episodes where he has like the end of the flute episode.
Yes.
It felt like that. It felt like he was looking down at an object sort of wistfully and, thoughtfully.
Yeah.
And it was a little chilling in that regard. It was really cool. I liked it. It was one of those things that really
loved the gift. I loved the gift itself. The jar of pickles.
Yeah.
That had such meaning because Mercer is always like,
open this jar,
go open that
jar of pickles for me. Yeah, it's like here's a jar of pickles.
I wonder if he opened it for him first.
But yeah, it was. I thought that was the way they ended this episode was really touching and well done on an already really good episode.
Yes. The entire episode, though, was just so deep. I mean, so emotional.
And they still found time for the jokes as well, because Malloy is like, I always wanted to try this. He grabs an aluminum bottle, chucks it out into Soleil and Gravity, and it just flat as a pancake. Cool.
I mean,
which is
that's
Malloy in this case is doing what the audience wants to do. It's like, I would want to play with that gravity a little bit. It's like they write the episode and then then they think about it from the aspect of like what a fan would think would be funny or something interesting, and it's like, and they just do it.
And that's the cool thing that I've noticed about Seth MacFarlane and stuff in general is when they do get serious, they're still able to work in humor, but they also don't make light of the situation when it needs to be serious.
Yeah. And he knows how to use the humor to accentuate the plot as
Yeah.
opposed to just throwing in fart jokes here and there or whatever.
Yeah.
He actually knows how to use the humor to draw out the drama.
Yeah. Like,
Like,
even in Family Guy, when it does get serious, you feel it, even though there are still jokes peppered in everywhere.
but like this one, that whole can being thrown out, it's funny and it's like cool, but at the same time, that just goes to show you, thank good his comment, thank goodness for gravity filters.
Yeah, gravity shields. Yeah, and yeah, it also not only does it serve as comedy and sort of what you would probably try and do if you had the opportunity to do this, what you would do, you know, it not only does that, but it also shows the sort of stakes at hand here for Mercer towards the end. When his suit is malfunctioning, you know,
Exactly. That's what I was.
yeah, that's why I was expanding on what you were already saying and just sort of giving it a more fleshed out thing. You stated it, and then I just sort of
Mhm.
tacked on and fleshed it out. But yeah, it sets the stakes for that later. So you get, it's a joke earlier, but it sets up stakes later.
Yeah.
Like, shit, in 8 minutes and 30 seconds, he is going to be a crushed can. He has to get to the ship, but he can't move. Holy fuck.
Yeah, and foreshadowing, but it's sort of Chekhov's gun sort of thing. When he's in the suit and he looks at the first time, it was weird that he chose to put on the suit in the first place instead of just saying what he had to say from within the gravity filter. He actually went to the trouble of putting on the suit to go out and talk to her father and mother, and that was weird. But then he looked down and you saw the countdown for I assume
Yeah.
the charge. And it's like that's gonna come into play later, isn't it? It's like
Also, but I think that it didn't feel weird to me because, first of all, Alara doesn't really talk about her family much. He really avoids discussing them. But you can tell just by how hard she is on herself and how she acts that she has a very stringent upbringing. So he felt he needed to go that extra step, literally, and face her parents directly and tell them how amazing she is as kind of a added incentive, because not incentive but an added like sentiment, because just calling it from the edge of the ship isn't as meaningful as actually being there face to face and saying, look, I know aren't you aren't fond of the military, you don't like what she's done joining the military, but she is an amazing person who has saved countless lives, myself included, and I had to tell you that face to face. So it didn't feel like that was forced or that was weird in any way that he put on the suit and went out there. At least not from the way I perceived it.
oh. Well, it was one of those things where that what's happening there is it's going to be a yeah
Countdown, yeah.
yeah the countdown is like that's gonna come into play later. Otherwise, he wouldn't have looked at it. It would have been maybe it wouldn't have even had to been a meter on the suit. Just but because it's like this is a drama, and for some reason he's going to have to do this, you know. But yes, and now it's also and now it's time Now it's only a matter of time before they get Siddig and McFadden on there, so they can have all the doctors from Star Trek, from modern Star Trek, all the living doctors on there.
If they were going to get all the living um all the living doctors, they'd also get Carl Urban, but that's doubtful considering he's a movie star.
Yeah.
Well, from the Alpha canon.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
so,
mean, dead, so you can't get Dr. Bones.
yeah, you can't get Bones anymore. But
And we are not even considering Discovery. I don't even remember who the doctor was in that.
I haven't watched it, so I have no idea who the doctor is in that one. So, yeah.
So,
And they're
wait.
busy anyway, so, you know. But yeah, if they get like actual proper Star Trek, all the proper Star Trek, they just need to get 2 more, and they'll have all the doctors.
Yeah. Yup.
Which I love that. I love that Picardo can be in so much Orville. Well, it's going to be a lot less likely now that that Alara stepped off, but
that was sad.
yeah,
Alara was one of my favorites.
yeah, and the problem with it is they made such a big deal of it that now to bring her back, there has to be a full storyline as to why she's come back. You know,
Yeah,
there has to be.
It could be a Beverly Crusher thing, like they did with Beverly Crusher, where they replaced her for a little bit.
Yeah, and then
But,
yeah,
but I mean, she was replaced by Patrick Warburton, so I mean, there is that.
I like her better.
I mean, that whole esophagus on the outside looks kind of creepy. He looks
and his whole, high metabolism, so I have to have two esophagus. Esophagi or esophaguses?
He and the doctor, he and the 13th Doctor having a conversation would make anyone want to pull their hair out.
Yeah, him and what's his name? The poet from, was it last episode? Dan
Man. Oh man. Him, Dan, and the doctor sitting down to have a conversation.
It'd make you want to pull your hair out. It's like, it's Cringe Town. Population U.
Cool beans. Oh.
Just pound it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we don't even know if Warburton's going to be on there for very long. I mean, he could be just there. He's an interim, so he could be like, yeah, I'm just going to be here for a while, and then they swap him out for somebody else. Or it could be...
he's done being Lemony Snicket, so he can totally stay on for longer.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And he's already got he's already got a working relationship with McFarlane because he's in his other show. So he's in a slightly long-running series with McFarlane already, so it's not like he doesn't know him. But
yeah, and he was a wonderful Lemony Snicket.
But yeah, I don't know whether how long is this Alara not being there gonna be a thing? Is it going to be forever? Did the actress just want to leave, or is it a setup that she's gonna take some time, and then all of this is gonna come back in a it's gonna come back on there. Gonna come back on at some point. But
I mean, On the other hand, even if it isn't a, even if it has nothing to do with her leaving the show, I think as a conclusion to that episode, it made sense.
Sorry, what?
I think somebody needs to turn their vibrate off their phone because I'm hearing buzzing.
Yes, rather intense buzzing.
Yes. It's like cutting off.
There's no option for that. They're gonna have to deal with it.
Okay. Well,
There's
I
gonna
think
be
this,
like that notification from Skype.
well, can't you put yourself invisible? That would turn off notifications temporarily.
Try. Let's see. How do I do that on mobile?
I do.
It's different from a computer, so I'm trying to remember how.
I don't use a computer for that. I don't have internet. I only have data.
I'm saying like that. I'm trying to remember how. Okay, there we go.
But as I was saying, I think even without whether the actress is leaving, or if it's just a temporary thing, as far as the story itself went, the ending made sense and it gave this episode a good closure.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could figure a way to make this work without her leaving.
I mean, cut out that last 5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
It still would have been an episode.
Yeah, still would have been a good episode, but and just have an extended period of talking with her father about how,
I don't think it would have had the impact as her going home to fix things with her dad.
Yeah, and there's no there's no telling she's probably not going to come back next episode, but in a couple episodes, a few episodes, maybe there's a reason. It's always sort of hanging there that she could come back because they didn't kill her off. They just sort of they sent her home for a while, and it's sort of a indeterminate amount of time, so she can be back next episode if they it'd be a little jarring, but she could technically, but it would kind of ruin it. So you need to give it a couple episodes to
give it some
breathe,
time
to actually work. She spent like a month back home at least talking to her father and getting back on track, and then maybe she comes back and who knows, by the end of the season she comes back and they're back. But
it's funny because we were just talking about this with the New Year's special of Doctor Who. This is how it should have been with Ryan and his dad. There is that lifetime of neglect, and then she doesn't straight up accept him. She doesn't straight up say, okay, it's all fixed.
No, it's gonna need work, but the first step's been taken, and it can go. This thing can go backwards, forwards. If you do something stupid, this could go backwards. But if you do something, if we continue to work on it, continue to build this thing, we can move forward. And maybe it'll take a while, and it doesn't make any sense with Ryan, especially given how he was with Graham. It's like Graham took forever for him to sort of acknowledge and get used to, and say, yeah, Gramps, yeah. And
Grace for 3 years, and who knows how long they were together before that. And it took Grace's death and them traveling together before he acknowledged him as granddad. And yet his dad comes in after almost 20 years of neglect and abandonment, and he never even showed up to his own mother's funeral. And oh, okay, we're cool. That's
Yeah.
not how Ryan would.
Yeah, that's not how emotions work. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. If you have something like that, you have to you have to take time. It's a you know
This is how, and the Orville did it perfectly. How Doctor Who should have done it. I need some time. I'm going to deal with this. And with Doctor Who, it's even better because they don't actually have to abandon Ryan. They can leave him there for however long, come back, 6 months later, 6 weeks later, even, pick him up, and a day went by for them.
yeah. And so, but yeah, it's just so. Yeah, this was. Yeah, I hope we get Alara back because I like her a lot better than Patrick Warburton's character. Which, if they're gonna make Patrick Warburton's character, if they wanted to keep him around for a significant amount of time, they wouldn't have made him so annoying. The idea is to not to make him.
Is Dan?
What?
He's become kind of Dan. He has become kind of a main secondary character, and he's kind of annoying.
Yeah, but
He's not as annoying as Patrick Warburton. I will give you that.
But yeah, I mean, if they were going to make him part of the main cast, not just a secondary character, then they would, he would have been a more charming, interesting character. And
But I
this
think
is basically, to me, this screams, don't get comfortable with this character. He's not going to be around a while. Because this joke's going to get real old real fast if we use him as our security officer for more than a little bit.
I think part of why they did that, though, as far as that, is to give a strong contrast to Alara and to be like, you really miss Alara now, don't you?
Yeah, there's that too. It's a flag to me. That's what makes me suspect that at some point we'll get Alara back because it's going to take it's going to be an emergency. It's going to be something that only she can do, or something that they need her for. That's going to draw her back into action, and then at the end of the episode, she'll be talking about going back, but then her father says, "No, they need you out there. Go,
Yeah.
please. I'm proud of you. Go back out there and continue making me proud, because that's where you belong. You belong out there because that's where you can do most good."
And that acceptance right there would be the pin in the story in that entire arc. Because this arc started in the first season where she was talking with her parents over the video chat. And they were talking about how, well, I know you're slow, but you didn't have to feel like you were pushed into the military. And, they were putting her down in the first season. And I think this ties it up, but that scene where she's going to go home, but her dad says, no, that's where you belong.
Yeah.
That would be the cherry on top, the pin in the thing,
Yeah. Just please keep in touch.
Exactly.
Something where he says he's proud of her, but he still holds back a little bit of his pride. Just please, that sort of EMH, sort of slight pride, slight arrogance, but just like not cutting, but just like that sort of proud, sort of, well, just don't forget, don't forget to call,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. He doesn't want, he's still being, prim and proper and stern, but he can't help being a little soft towards his daughter. And, but yeah, something like that, it would have to be something like that to bring her back. You need something where she's needed, her skill set is needed specifically, and they've had the time, a few episodes at least, probably, to really gel and remake their relationship. And when you see them again, you see that they've when they call in, they're working on their relationship and it's a lot better. And you can tell by the way they're interacting, it's going a lot better. Then she gets called to action, and goes and does something and maybe gets a medal even. It's like, and so
Yeah.
and then drags her dad up to see the medal ceremony because they're near Saleya for some reason, and drags him out to be there at the ceremony. And he's like, "Well, I'll just be going home." It's like, "No, you deserve to be out here," and then do that, and then have that whole scene of him telling her, "No, no, you belong out here. You can do what you can be. You out here. You can be the person that you want to be. You could be the person you need to be. You can go out here and be be part of this, this incredible thing that's saving lives and doing all this, and that would be the way to something like that. I mean, just off the top of my head, just throwing this stuff around. That seems like that would be if you're going to bring them back. Now, the other possibility is they will let her go completely, and they'll bring in this guy. The Warburton character is just the interim, and they bring in somebody.
Competent.
Well, somebody we don't know how competent he is because we really haven't had an issue with security yet where he would be.
I was actually quoting Sam in the silenced episode.
Oh, okay.
Competence of a buffoon. Well, I wouldn't have lumped it that put it that way, but yes.
Yeah, we don't know how competent he is, but I suspect he won't be here long. Like they're going to have either we're going to have a Lara back in a few episodes, and the next few episodes aren't going to be very security focused, or they'll have him on for a while. They'll bring Lara back at the end of these few episodes, or they'll replace him with a character that fills that same sort of role and is a lot less annoying.
I'm thinking there's gonna be like a big battle with the Krill, and like, we need you back.
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So far, this season has been has gone 3 for 3 with good episodes. So
Yeah. I want to say one thing though. I wonder how many anti-vaxxers got upset with the episode.
Yes, I actually wrote that in my notes, saying that there was also a subtle stab at the anti-vaxxers thing. There was a bit of an anti-vax
oh,
allegory.
okay, yeah, now I remember. I was like, and then I was okay, yeah.
With that vaccine causes, and it's kind of a nudge to those people who accused the flu vaccine of causing autism.
Yeah. Well, and in general, that vaccines are so bad for you. Now, there is a caveat. If you're in China, mainland China, then yes, you have to worry about your vaccine. There's actually a legitimate reason to be worried about your vaccines. Because they've had actual scandals of fake vaccines and, that have made, I think they've made people sick, kids sick, and that, yeah. So, but yeah, other than that, yeah.
You have to pick and choose which vaccines you need. It's not like get yourself vaccinated for everything under the sun, because unless you're a hypochondriac. But at the same time, certain things like flu virus and stuff like that, you should get your kids vaccinated for.
Well, yeah. Well, everything on the schedule. Follow. There's a schedule out there. Follow that. That's a pretty good schedule. Just they put that thing together for a reason. It's like,
yeah. And actually, you can't even get your kid into school unless their
schedule's up to date. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there was that anti-vax commentary.
Yeah, but it was so quick and so, and it didn't really. It wasn't. The fact that it was a vaccine thing wasn't even that important to the story. It was sort of just
Exactly.
it wasn't a structural part of the story. It was a description of a structural part of the story.
Yeah, it was just like a side note commentary.
Yeah, it didn't. But yeah, overall, I mean, it was. uh, it was really nice, and basically, uh, that was interesting. It was also it was an interesting episode in that we had the subtle setup. Well, not so subtle, but they set up some of it, like the the place down the beach had the light on, and that's something Alara would notice.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, yeah, you're starting to see, yes, she is a security officer. She actually is competent and understands that, yes, this is what's going to happen. Look for this. Does anybody look for fingerprints? And basically, all the,
She's a cop.
yeah, she's a cop being a cop. She's completely in that cop mindset still, and so when she sees something,
and I
it's
love
just
the contrast. Whereas it's like I noticed a light on. Didn't Sarah say that there's nobody else on the island?
yeah,
Somebody, and they're just defending it. They're being all like completely oblivious when they're supposed to be the smarter ones.
yeah,
And she's being more thoughtful and more concerned about everything because that is the way her brain works.
yeah.
She's not dumber. She proves she's not dumber than them. She's different than them.
She has a
Right.
different sort of,
She has a different skill set, not
yeah.
a lower intelligence, a more tactical mind rather than a scientific mind.
Yeah, well, they have that whole speech in there about the brainy ones want the strength, and the strength ones want the brains, and it's just like, okay.
Well, we know one strength one that wants the brains.
Well, is there anything else?
No, I can't make anything into units.
Uh,
I mean, it's top scientist. I mean,
Scientific advisor. I mean, what? No, I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about.
clearly.
But anyway, I guess we're out of ideas, so we'll call it.
At least for now.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll call that an episode review of Home from the Orville.
yes. A show that is still good.
I did love when she ripped her dad a new one. At the beginning, that speech when she's sitting in her room and she gives her dad that speech about how he was completely unsupportive her entire life, and yes, it might have been a lie, but she just wanted to hear just once that he was proud of her and that she could do it. And her team is more supportive than he ever was, and he's her dad. And when she ripped him a new one, I literally cheered.
And I have to admit, I might have cried a little bit when they made up.
Yeah. I cried a little bit when she gave him that speech.